Hi, this is the solution to your second vectors quiz. By now you should have had your feedback after doing the quiz. If there is a question that you're specifically looking for help with, then obviously feel free to fast forward to that question. Failing that, remember that you can use this video to take notes, and obviously if there is anything that you're still unsure of after watching this, then please just get in touch and we'll do our best to help you. So the first question says the point R divides EF in the ratio 2 to 3 if E is the point 0, 10, negative 5 and F is the point 5, 0, 10. The coordinates of R are. So you've got your 4 different options there, and we'll work through to see which one we're going to end up on. So we know that if we've got a line, E and F is divided by R in the ratio 2 to 3. So what that means is that E to R to R to F is in the ratio 2 to 3. So we're going to cross multiply these. So we know that 3ER is equal to 2R to F. So that's where that ratio comes in. That's how that helps us with this question. So from there, it's just a case of working through it algebraically to see if we can solve it. So E to R, remember, is R minus E. R to F is F minus R. So 3R minus 3E, breaking my brackets, equals 2F minus 2R. And the question wants us to find the coordinates of R. So we want R on the left-hand side and everything else on the right-hand side. So 5R equals 2F plus 3E. So that's what's going to help us to find our coordinates of R. So over here, 5R must be equal to 2 of F. So F up here is 5, 0, 10. We're looking for double that. So 10, 0, 20. And we're adding on 3E. So E is 0, 10, negative 5. We're timesing that by 3 to get 0, 30 and negative 15. So that means that 5R must be equal to, so when I add my x's together, I get 10. Add my y's together, I get 30. And then add my z's together, so 20 plus negative 15 gives me 5. So that means R on its own is going to be 2, 6, 1. And I've got that from dividing everything in that coordinate, or that component, through by 5. Question asks you for your coordinates, so your coordinates are just going to be the exact same thing, but written out in coordinate form. 2, 6, 1 is D. So the answer to question 1 is D. Question 2, so it gives you the coordinates of X, gives you the coordinates of Y, but notice that they've got this B, this unknown value in there, and it gives you the coordinates of Z. And it's saying that if the 3 points are collinear, we have to find the value of B. So remember, if points are collinear, it means that they have a common gradient and they share a common point. So we would have learnt about that back in straight line. So it's similar to what we're going to be using for vectors. It's just that now we're trying to prove that one set of components can be multiplied by a scalar value, so they can all be multiplied by the same thing, and you can end up with the next set. So we're going to start off by finding xy. Remember, xy is actually y minus x. So in this case, it's 9, 1, b minus 3, 4, 1. And that gives us, so 9 minus 3 gives us 6. 1 minus 4 gives us negative 3. And then b minus 1, we're just keeping as that. Okay. Now, at our next point, it makes no sense for us to use y again, because we're going to end up with this double unknown. But if we use x and z this time, it's going to give us our common coordinate, or our common point of x, and it's going to help us find something that we can equate to that b minus 1. So if we now do x to z, so x to z is z minus x, which is 11, 0, negative 7, minus 3, 4, 1. So 11 minus 3 is 8, 0 minus 4 gives us negative 4. Negative 7 take away 1 gives us negative 8. Okay, so we now need to compare this coordinate here with this coordinate here. Okay, so we're going to look at the ratio between them. So we've got 6, negative 3 and b minus 1. And we've got our 8, negative 4 and negative 8 over here. So to get from this to this and to get from this to this, we must have multiplied by 4 over 3. Now, the way that I got that is by taking that 8 over 6. 8 over 6 simplifies to 4 over 3. Or if you think about it as negative 4 over negative 3, that would also simplify to 4 over 3. So essentially what you're saying is that you're times in this set of coordinates on my left-hand side by 4 over 3, and it gives you the right-hand side. So if we take 4/3 of b minus 1, it's going to equal negative 8. So that means 4b minus 4 must be equal to negative 24. I'm running out of space, so I'm just going to squeeze this in over here, but that means that 4b must be equal to negative 20, so b must be equal to negative 5. If we look at our four options, negative 5 is option B. So for question 2, your answer is B. So question 3 tells us the points of A and the points of B, and it tells us that C divides AB in the ratio of 1 to 4. So this is very, very similar to the first question. We are now trying to calculate the coordinates of C. So we've got the line AB. C divides it in the ratio 1 to 4. So C is somewhere down here, and that is split in the ratio 1 to 4. So what we can deduce from that is that A to C, if we compare that to the ratio of C to B, it is split up in 1 to 4. So that means when we cross multiply, 4AC is equal to CB. So AC times it by 4 gives you CB. So we can start to work through that. So AC is C minus A, CB is B minus C, 4C minus 4A is equal to B minus C. We're asked to find the coordinates of C, so we want our C's on the left-hand side of this equation, so adding C to both sides gives us 5C, and then we want everything else on the right-hand side, so we've got our B plus 4A. So this is what's going to help us to find our coordinates. So we've got that 5C is equal to B plus 4A. So 5C must be equal to B straightforward, it's just 529, plus 4 times A. So negative 5 times 4 gives us negative 20. 7 times 4 gives us 28. Negative 6 times 4 gives us negative 24. We can then add them together. So 5 plus negative 20 gives us negative 15. 2 plus 28 is 30. 9 plus negative 24 is also negative 15. So C, in terms of the coordinates, because we're asked about coordinates, must be negative 3, 6, negative 3. So looking at the 4 possible options, that is option D. So the answer for question 3 is D. Looking at question 4, it says the length of vector A defined by this here is, and we've got our 4 options, so they want us to find the length of that vector. So remember, to find the length, it's the same as finding your magnitude, and that's where you take each of your individual parts, you square them, add them together, and then square root them. So it's a bit like Pythagoras. So for this one, A is defined by that, but we know that we can write that out in component form. 4, 2 root 3, and negative 2 root 2. Okay, so this is your I at the top, your J, and your K. So when we're finding the length, we're finding our magnitude, and that is going to be 4 squared plus 2 root 3 squared plus negative 2 root 2 squared. Now, working with surds is quite common in vectors, so make sure that you've got a good understanding of that from National 5. So 4 squared is 16 plus, so when you're squaring this, you're squaring both parts. So I'll put this in as an extra line of working, but 2 squared gives us 4. Root 3 squared is root 3 times root 3, which is just 3, plus negative 2 squared, so a negative squared gives us a positive, 2 squared just gives us 4, and root 2 times root 2 is just 2. So that's everything being squared. I'm now going to simplify it a bit, so plus 12 plus 8. We would then add that all together, so 16 plus 12 gives us 28, add on our 8 gives us 36, and the square root of 36 is 6. So comparing it to our answers, question 4, our answer is B. Question 5, so it gives you the points A, B and C, and it asks the ratio that B divides AC in. So this is very, very similar to your first and third questions, but you're doing it in reverse. Okay, so this time you're figuring out the ratio. So to start off, I'm going to find A to B. A to B is B minus A. So 4, 5, 8 minus 2, 3, 6 gives us 2, 2, 2. I'm then going to find B to C. So the reason that I'm using the letters is because we're given the line AC and we want to know the ratio that B divides it in. So we're interested in A to B and B to C. So that's why I'm using the B as my common point in this. You don't have an option in this. You have to make sure you're using that B twice. So B to C is C minus B, which is 8, 9, 12 minus 4, 5, 8. 8 take away 4 gives us 4. 9 take away 5 gives us 4. 12 take away 8 gives us 4 as well. So if you look at this, you can see that B to C, so this one here, is A to B multiplied by 2. So again, we are saying that B to C is twice A to B. It's 2 times bigger. So again, thinking back to questions 1 and 3, before we got to this stage, we would have cross-multiplied. Okay, so we're now going to do essentially the same thing. So we've got 2 to 1. Okay, so that means that B divides A to C in the ratio of 2 to 1, where B to C is the biggest part. So A to B, B to C, 2 to 1. So the answer for question 5 is B, 2 to 1. Question 6. So it gives you the coordinates of A and B, and it tells you the point K divides AB in the ratio 4 to 1, and we want the coordinates of K. So again, very, very similar. This is the most common type of question like this that will come up. So we've got the line AB, and we know that K divides it in the ratio of 4 to 1. So A to K, the ratio of K to B is 4 to 1. Cross multiply at this point, so A to K is 4 K to B. By now you should be quite familiar with the process that you're following. So we've got K minus A equals 4B minus K. K minus A is 4B minus 4K. We're looking for the coordinates of K, so we want our K's on the left hand side. So 5K equals 4B plus A. Working through that, so 5K is equal to 4B. So 9 times 4, or negative 9, sorry, times 4 is negative 36. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times negative 3 gives us negative 12. And to that, we're going to add on 617, which is A. So 5K is equal to negative 30, 25, negative 5. The question again is asking about coordinates, so I'm going to go straight to my coordinate form. and it must be -6, 5, -1. So the answer for question 6, comparing it to what my options are, it's B. So that's the end of the quiz 2 solutions. Like I said, you should have had a score out of 6. If there was something in particular and you're still unsure about it, then obviously just get in touch and let us know how we can help.